What's up, guys? Welcome to Fantasy Smack Talk. Nameco and Dustin here. Nameco in a fancy new shirt.
That is fancy.
It's very fancy.
Look at this sleep print. You gotta pay extra for that, you know.
Apparently so. And that actually reminds us, you can still log in and get into the games competition, have a chance to win a great new shirt. We want to give a quick shout out to
Mr. Dave from Seattle. Took it down last week. Brent's gonna get in touch with you tonight, get the address, and you'll have your fancy new shirt in the mail.
All right, Dustin, let's get into some of those forum questions. And the first one comes from a good old friend, Bigger Boat. He wants to know who we should pick up. Nene, Clayton, Austin Cauley, or Brandon Lloyd. So help me God if you say Lloyd.
This question is on our homepage as one of the polls rotating. And according to the fantasy sports community, they're going with Nene at 46%, and I'm going to have to agree with this one. You know, I throw Lloyd out immediately. Austin Cauley, I think he's going to have some great games, but I also think he's going to have some bad games. Clayton, yeah, number one option in St. Louis, but he's got a rookie throwing him the ball. And Nene, I just think, even though he is the number 3 option out there, I think he's in a good situation to make the season.
It should be noted, I kind of like Mark Clayton actually out of this one. He was targeted 16 times week 1. He's only been there about a week and a half. Obviously, he's the favorite target for the young rookie.
There's also a chance that Vincent Jackson goes out to the Rams. So I don't know. I think Nene, safer pickup. All right, Brent, moving on. We got a question from Bruben. That trade question. He would be giving up Brandon Marshall, Forte, and McNabb. He already has Rodgers, by the way.
Nice.
And he would get Andre Johnson, Javid Best, and Vince Young.
All right, first of all, throughout the quarterbacks, you're starting Aaron Rodgers every week except for week 10 when he's on his bye. So I'm going to go receiver, running back. Marshall versus Andre. I mean, I love me some Texans. I love Andre Johnson. Obviously, I'd like him much more than, well, at least a good deal amount more than Brandon Marshall. And the 2 running backs, Forte and Best, I have them ranked pretty neck and neck. So therefore, I'm saying go ahead, pull the trigger, get Andre Johnson, and get Best. All right, Dustin, let's get into those forum questions. The first one comes from CG Porto. He wants to know, should he start McCoy versus the Lions, or should he be starting Michael the Burner Turner against the Cardinals? I know.
Did you roll your R?
I'm not good at that.
That was pretty terrible. I answered this one in the forums and I said McCoy, but you know, sometimes when I answer questions I don't necessarily think about league settings, but I do think this one does come down to your league settings. In a standard league, I think you got to go with Turner against Arizona, but in a PPR league, stick McCoy in there, but I think they both have big games this week.
And it should be noted, we posted this one on the site, and 62% of the Fantasy Smack Talk community said McCoy was the way to go, and we got pretty smart fans.
Smart fans.
Good guys.
All right, next one comes from Fat Man. Now this one is tricky. Sean Green versus New England, Michael Bush versus St. Louis, or Jerome Harrison versus the Chiefs.
Yeah, this one is very difficult, but I'm going to throw out Harrison to start. I don't know what Mangini's doing over there. Peyton Hillis got a ton of carries, fumbling, and still getting it. He hates Harrison for some reason. Don't trust him yet, throw him out. Michael Bush against the Rams, gotta love that, but he's coming off that injury, so he's a little bit shaky. And everyone knows what Sean Green did. He was terrible on Monday night. With all that being said, we're going to go with Sean Green. We think he could have a huge bounce back week. He's going to be very motivated, and the New England defense isn't anything close to the Baltimore Ravens defense. All right, Dustin, last forum question. This one comes from TDGD. He's getting some love because he's all over the forums, and he wants you to pick 2. Nene versus Jacksonville, Macklin versus Detroit, Zach Miller against St. Louis, or Bo versus the Cleveland Browns.
Well, first, I'm just going to go ahead and pick Macklin here. You know, I know Vic's going to be throwing the ball this week, but they hooked up last week. But go ahead and stick Macklin in there. I think they could hook up again. I'm going to throw out the tight end because you got a couple of good wide receiver options here. And I know I said I like Nene as a pickup, but I'm going to go with Dwayne Bowe as a start for this week against Cleveland. You know, it was raining in the game on Monday night. You know, the Chiefs were up second half, weren't throwing the ball a lot. I think Dwayne Bowe has a bounce back this week against the Browns. Moving to our studs, duds, and sleepers. My stud this week had a terrible game last week, but he's going up against the Bengals this week. A lot easier matchup than the Jets, and that's Ray Rice. I think he has a big bounce back, big game for Ray Rice. My dud's Tom Brady. Going up against the Jets. You know, last year against the Jets, Brady didn't do all that well. And if you have another decent option, consider it. Maybe Michael Vick, even David Garrard.
Foreshadowing.
I think both those guys could have bigger games than Brady. I know it's scary, but consider it. And my sleeper, Kansas City's defense.
Ooh, they haven't been a sleeper in like 28 years, I bet.
They looked pretty good against San Diego last week, and now they have the Browns. and it looks like Seneca Wallace might be getting the start. So I think they have some pieces there to maybe having a good defensive game.
All right, my stud is going to be Brandon Jackson. Congratulations, you used the number 1 waiver on, you got him. He's going to pay huge dividends this week going against a Buffalo run defense that's god-awful. And their pass defense is actually pretty decent, so they're going to run the ball a lot. My dud, Matt Forte. He had a huge week last week, but he had a 91-yard catch for a touchdown. I don't see that happening against this Dallas D that's playing at home, and the offensive line for the Bears is still very suspect. And my sleeper, Michael Vick. If you picked him up, go ahead and throw him right into your lineup. He's playing against the Lions. I don't think I'd start him over Tom Brady myself, but he's going to have a big day. I expect him to have a decent passing totals, a good rushing total, and maybe even rush one in for a touchdown.
I'm starting him over Brady in one league.
There's no way I would do that.
All right, let's get into Mike's picks. His stud, Reggie Wayne against the Giants in that brother battle game out there with the Giants and Colts. You know, Reggie Wayne, great receiver, probably going to have a good game out there. His dud is Sean Green. You know, he's going up against a much weaker defense this week in New England, but he's just not convinced that Sean Green's even going to get 50% of the carries. So it's just a mess. It's a big question mark out there. And his sleeper, Seneca Wallace, going up against my sleeper defense in the Chiefs.
Brother versus brother.
I don't really get this one, I'm not going to lie. But he just thinks Seneca Wallace could get some rushing yards in there. But I think it's a bit of a long shot. Not sure exactly what scenario you would consider starting Seneca over another one of your quarterbacks, but we'll see. I might eat my words.
Yeah, watch that happen.
I might eat my words. I very well might. But that's it for this week's show. Don't forget, get in our games, get a chance to win one of these sweet shirts. I'll be back early next week for the Waiver Wire show. Until then, good luck week 2.